So today we are going to start with RDS backup, multi-z and replica. So yesterday we have started RDS. We have understand what is RDS, what are the basics of RDS, right? We have learned about how to run relational database in cloud. What are the different engines provided by Amazon? There are six relational database engines or uh, different companies are provided by Amazon. Okay. Then we talk about a little bit about the problems of on-premise. If you are running a database on your local system, on your local machine, or on-premise, so there are challenges, and you have to provide a dedicated team to maintain and run the database. Now, after coming after RDS or after Amazon has created RDS, all the operation and maintenance are being handled and managed by AWS completely. So the operation cost has been reduced drastically. We don't have to maintain the database. Just has to use the database, and all the operational things are be managed by Amazon completely. In this scenario, we are just focused on using the database rather than maintaining it. Okay, so how RDS help us to maintain the database? We are going to cover that. How RDS is taking backups automatically. How in the case of disaster when your system goes down because there is a hardware. If the hardware fails, how Amazon is able to recover from that? That is multi-z. Then how Amazon RDS helps us to improve the performance of our database. So these are all things we are going to cover today in a short time. Any question? Okay. So these are topics we are going to cover: RDS backups, automatic backups, what is snapshot, okay, uh, restoration, encryption, multi-z, replica, and exam tips. Before starting, let me create a RDS instance and show you again because it will take 5 to 10 minutes for RDS instance to start, right? So let's create a instance before going to the theory. So I'm in AWS console. I'm in Mumbai region. Okay, in RDS, just create a database, MySQL. Select the version you like. There are n number of versions available. Click on free tier. Okay, now you can see the multi-z option has been gray out. If it's production, you can see multi-z directly, but in free tier it's gray out, and you have to run only single machine. But we can edit it in the future. We can edit it after creating the machine. Okay. Now you can give the name. This is just a display name. This is just a display name. You can just type anything. My database number one. You can give anything. Okay. After that, this is the username credential, and this is a password which will be helping you to log in into the database. T2 micro, okay, or T3 micro. You can select anyone. I'm selecting T2 micro. Okay. T3 micro comes with 2 CPU and 1 GB RAM. Storage, let it be default storage 20 GB plus auto incremental of the storage. Do not connect to any EC2 machine, default VPC. You can select any subnet you want, default subnets. Public access, yes. For practice purpose, we are enabling public access, but in real scenario, you might want to avoid this. Okay, you might want to avoid the public access. Okay, why we want to avoid the public access? Because your database is a okay. You store the sensitive data in your database, so data is crucial. So you want to avoid the public access. Only the private access should be allowed. And how do we will allow private access and how can we access it? We are going to cover that in our VPC section. Okay, security group, choose the existing security group, delete or remove the default security group and select the security group which you have created for your database. Availability zone, you can select any availability zone if you want, otherwise you can let Amazon decide the availability zone. Port 3306. Okay, you can give the name MyDB. This is a database inside our RDS machine. There will be a database will be created. Automatic backups, right now you can disable the automatic backups. Okay, delete protection. So if you want to avoid accidental delete of your RDS machine, like somebody go and delete the RDS machine, so you can avoid that. If you enable this checkbox, the person has to first disable the checkbox in the when you create a RDS machine. Anybody has, if they want to delete the RDS machine, then they have to just disable this. Before disabling this delete protection, they will not able to delete the RDS machine. Same thing we have covered in EC2. EC2 also there is an option called delete protection. Maintenance window. In the maintenance window, you will create, if you want to do any changes, you want to take a backup or upgrade your system, you can define the maintenance window. Okay, if you are in free tier, you will be getting no charge. If you are not in free tier, then this is a bill you will get for 1 month. Create a database. So I have created a database. It will take 5 to 10 minutes to spin up the database. Meanwhile, we will cover the theory. Any question till this point? So now we have talked about database. Okay, it's a software, it's a engine on which you are going to run a database. So there are a number of we have seen in the console. There are 6 type of RDS databases available by Amazon. Okay, now in the database, what you are going to store? You're going to store some information. You're going to store some data. Now it's important to take backup of the data. We have covered that in EC2 machine because it's important, right? Anytime anything can go wrong, you should be prepared for that, right? It's not that your machine will always up and running. There might be scenario that the below hardware might go fail, or the availability zone can go down. Anything can happen. So we should always prepare for the failure. And in for preparing the failure, the one of the important thing is to take backups, right? So Amazon RDS create and save automatic backups of your database. So there is a functionality where the backups are taken on a regular basis automatically. Okay, there is a option where Amazon will take backup automatically for you. Okay, RDS create and save automatic backup of your database instance during the backup window of your DB instance. RDS create a storage volume snapshot of your DB, backing up the entire DB instance and not your just individual database. So complete data, whatever the data is stored in your database will or on your instance will be backed up. So inside database there are multiple database or schema it created, right? So uh, there can be sales database, there can be HR database, there can be accounting database. So inside your single instance there can be multiple database available. Okay, backups are stored in S3. So the copy which you have created to take the backup or the backup data, where does it the backup data store? Whatever the backup which you have taken will be stored in S3. Whose S3? Our S3? No. Again, it's a S3 managed by Amazon. Okay, S3 machine managed by Amazon. We are not able to access that data directly, or we can not able to access that S3 bucket directly. It is managed by Amazon. But why it is important to learn where the data is stored? Because after this we are sure that the whatever the backup file which is created is very highly secure, because we have learned in S3 that uh, no file is going to delete in S3. Agree? So there are two type of backup available in RDS. One is automatic backup and second is DB snapshot. Now what is the difference between automatic backup and DB snapshot? Let's go and check one by one. First of all, the automatic backups. Okay. So the automatic backups allow you to recover your database at any point in time within retention period. Okay. So what is automatic backup in general? So whenever you take a backup, okay, or whenever you create a RDS machine, Amazon will take backup at a particular timestamp automatically on a daily basis. On a daily basis, Amazon will create a backup of your database. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. You just have to create the backup. You just have to enable them. So on a periodic basis, Amazon will take a backup. It can be daily, it can be weekly, it can be monthly. But generally, most preferable is on a daily basis. Okay. And how many number of copies will be available? So let's say today you created a database. To, now at end of the day, let's say at 12 o'clock midnight, you have scheduled that Amazon should take a backup. Okay, you can schedule that. It's in with your you can do the configuration that is called maintenance window. Okay, you have to give the timing at that in that timing when the load on your database is low. You have to decide. You have to understand at what time your database has low traffic. At that particular time, we define the backup window. We define it as a backup maintenance or backup window. Okay, in that particular time frame, Amazon will start taking a backup. Now today you have taken a backup. Okay, let's say it has been 7 days you have created a machine. So 7 days backups are available with you. Each day a backup is created. So 7 copies is created. How many copies should be available? Every day the backup is getting created. So up to 35 days, okay, up to 35 days the backup will be available. Okay, so let's say today it, you have created a machine and it has been 1 month. Okay, 35 days has been done. So 35 backups will be available. Now on 36th day, when 36th backup will be created, the first backup which was taken when the data was created will be deleted. Okay, latest 35 backups will be there. Latest 35 backups will be there. Okay, now let's say today is 40, day 40. So the backup taken from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be deleted. Only the backup from 6 to 40 day will be available. Last 35 days backup will be available with you. And you can restore the data from any point, any, you can select any date, and on from that particular date the backup will be restored. That is called retention period. Okay, so automatic backup allow you to recover your data at any point in time within the retention period. The retention period can be between 1 day to 35 days. Now, what is retention period? I just explain you. The retention period, the policy refer to how long this backup tape or media are kept. That is called retention period. Okay, so last 35 days backup will be available with you, and after that, each day the oldest backup will be deleted. Every day, the oldest backup will be deleted after 35 days. Automatic backup will take full day snapshot and will store the transaction log throughout the day. So what is transaction logs? So there are two type of data. One is actual data, like uh, transactions. Your let's say you stored your sales report. How much sales has been done today? Let's say you are working in a any retail outlet of your mobile shop. You have a mobile shop, and how many mobiles are being sold today? You have registered the transactions, okay, or you have reported the sales report in the database. Now every time you do any changes in database, the user information, that what activity a user is doing, user is reading the data, user is writing the data, user is updating the data, that is a transactional logs. So activity tracked, it is also tracked, that is there, it is called transactional logs, are also backed up. It is important. So why? So to track on which day what activity has been done and performed by whom is also important. So that these are transactional logs, that on this day this update has happened, this day this particular user has deleted this table, okay, on this particular day a user has changed the parameter of one of the record. Okay, all these informations are also need to be stored and preserved, they are called transaction logs. So for that this information is also backed up on automatic backups. When you do a recovery, let's say you lose your database, okay, and when you do the recovery, you ask Amazon to restore your database. So what will Amazon will do? AWS will choose first the most Amazon will first choose the most recently daily backup and then apply the transition logs relevant to that date. So whatever the recently or the most recent backup, Amazon is going to restore it. Okay. Now, how can we enable the automatic backup? So let's go to the console, check if our database has come up. Yep, it is created. Go to the database, click on maintenance and backup. Click on modify. Okay, click on modify. So you can see backup. Right now we have disabled the backup. Okay, click on modify. There are, you can modify all the things which we have created till now. If you scroll down here, you can see previously the multi-z option was gray out, but while editing we can enable this thing. We are going to do this in some time. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, backups. Okay, you have to enable the backup. So how many backups do you want? I want 7-day backup. Or you have option up to 35 days. So for 35 days, different backups will be available for you. But you can select how many number of backups do you want to keep. That's a 10 days backup. At what time do you want to take the backup? The time is in UTC. Okay. So in UTC is plus 5.5 hours behind our Indian time. So you have to select the time accordingly. If you want to take a backup at 12 o'clock, so the UTC time will be somewhere at um, nearly 7 or 8 o'clock UTC. So you can just check it out, check the conversion, that what is the UTC time or versus IST time. Okay, so you can enable the backup from here. Scroll down and just create a continue. So now, if you are doing any modification to your database, if you are changing anything, it will in the end will ask you that this was the previous configuration and this is the new configuration, current configuration and the new configuration. And do you want to apply it immediately or do you want to apply the these changes in maintenance window? Okay, and it is showing you the next maintenance window in UTC plus 5.5, that is IST time. Okay, this is our maintenance window, that is 1 o'clock. Okay, do you want to apply immediately? Yes. Now the changes has been applied and it will take couple of seconds to minutes for that changes to be implemented. So if you click refresh couple of times, you will see your database will go from available to modifying. Okay, you can see now it has gone to modifying the changes. When your database is in modifying state, you will not will able to perform any action or modification. You can see when your database is in modifying state, in that state you will not able to modify or do any action on the database. That's why it's recommended to perform any modification on the database in maintenance window. Okay, it will take 5 to 10 minutes again. Any question how to take backup? What is automatic backup? Where the automatic backups are stored? Let me know. Okay. So when you do a recovery, AWS will first choose the most recently daily backup and then apply transitional log relevant to that day. This allow you to do a point in time recovery down to a second within the retention period. Automated backup are enabled by default. The backup data is stored in S3 and you get free storage space equivalent to size of your database. What that means, so if you have a RDS instance having data of 10 GB, you will get 10 GB worth of storage free in S3. So you can say one backup is one backup data stored in S3 is free for you. So if you're taking a backup and storing in S3, so there will be a cost associated to it. So you will say, sir, there are we can store up to 35 backups. We can store up to 35 backups. So we should enable all the 35. No, because if you are enabling all the 35 backups, so the data stored in each backup, you have to pay charges for that because it is storing in S3. Okay. So by default, one backup cost is free. If you have data of 10 GB, you will get equivalent storage capacity free of 10 GB. Backups are taken within a defined window. During the backup window, storage IO may be suspended while your data is being backed up, and you may experience the elevated latency. So it is important to understand why we should take backups in maintenance window. Now, the second type of backup, that is DB snapshot. Okay, the second type of backup is DB snapshot. Now, what is DB snapshot? So, if you want to take backup manually, then you can go with the DB snapshot. If you want to take snapshot manually, then you can go and take a backup. It is called DB snapshot. So DB snapshots are done manually, that is, they are user initiated. They are not automatic backups. It's not on a regular basis. They are stored even after you delete the original RDS instance, unlike the automatic backup. Okay. So let's say you want to do some activity. Right now, I'm doing some activity. The backup was created yesterday, right? There was a, let's say today at 2 p.m. last night, the backup happened. Okay, 2 a.m. the backup has automatic backup was created or taken. Now at 8 o'clock today morning, I need to do some activity, and because of that, I need to take a backup. Now you will say, sir, why we need to take a backup? Because already a backup was created at 2 o'clock. But you can see that there's a 6 hours difference. There might be some transactions, there might be some changes done between these two time interval. So I have to make sure that I do not lose any data. Why? So while doing activity, there might be chances that you might lose some data. Okay. So in that case, so in general, it's recommended that whenever you are doing some activity, you should take backup. Okay. It's always recommended that you should take backup before doing activity. So that's a manual backup. Now one thing. So whenever you are deleting your RDS machine, all the automatic backups. So if you go here in the left side, you will see automatic backups. So you can see a one backup is created. Right now, a backup is created. So this is a one copy of your backup. This is automatic backup, right? This is automatic backup. When you delete your database, all the automatic backups will automatically is going to delete. When you delete your database, all the automatic backup along with your database will be deleted by default. Okay. But if you take a manual backup, that is snapshot, they are not going to delete automatically. You can see manual. So you have to delete them manually. That's one of the difference between automatic backup and manual backup. Okay. Now next is restoration. So we talk about backups. Now what if your database goes down? What if your database goes down? You have to restore your database. That is restoring your database, backing up. So it's simple. Just select your any of your backup and ask Amazon to use. So I can select this backup and I can take action and I can ask to restore the data. Restore to the point in time. Okay. So it will create a new database for me. So let's say your this database has gone down. There are some issue with the database and your EC2 machine or the database has gone down. So you can restore it. Now only thing what will happen is when you create a new database, that is your URL will going to change. So this is your URL. Okay. So URL is going to change. The endpoint is going to change. Only thing because underline EC2 machine altogether, all the system is going to uh, create a new machine. So when you create a new database, the URL is going to change. So whenever you restore either an automatic backup or a manual backup, the stored version of the database with the new RDS instance, the restored version of the database with new RDS instance will have a new DNS endpoint. So the URL is going to change. That's it. Otherwise, all the things will be similar. Why? Because this RDS machine was on different EC2 machine previously. Now it will be on different hardware altogether. Clear? Now encryption restoration. Okay, encryption. Now what is encryption? We have covered encryption multiple times. We have talked about encryption in S3. We have talked encryption in EC2 machine. Similarly, in RDS also, whenever we are dealing with data, we have to be very thorough. We have to be very careful that what type of data we are dealing and what is the encryption. We have to enable the encryption to our data. Encryption at rest is supported by MySQL, Oracle, SQL Server, Postgres, MariaDB, Aurora DB, every all the six databases engine, all the six database engine supports encryption of your data. Clear? So you should. It's always recommended that you should encrypt your data. Encryption is done by AWS Managed Key KMS service. Again, similar to what we have learned previously, you have to create a key. You can create a key. You can pass it the key to encrypt your data. Once your RDS instance is encrypted, once you have done the encryption, the data stored at rest means the data stored inside your RDS instance is encrypted, as well as the backups which you are taking will be in encrypted format, and the read replica and the snapshot. So everything will be encrypted end to end. Okay. At this point, do you have any question? So you can enable the encryption. Okay. Go to your database, click on the database, click on modify. You will get an option to encrypt your database. and I think they have disabled the encryption in free tier. Let me check for the other databases. Hmm. So you can see encryption. Okay, I think they have disabled the encryption in free tier machine. Okay, otherwise in other machine or production database you can enable the encryption. You will find that thing below your backups. Okay, if you're not able to find the encryption, that means that encryption they have disabled for that particular instance. Okay, now next topic. Now important topic is multi-z. Very important topic is multi-z and read replicas. So multi-z, we have talked about multi-z a little. What is multi-z? So it's a very simple way. You have a primary machine on which your database is running, right? All the people are connecting to this database. So there are two problems. One is, what if this machine goes down? Second problem is that uh, the performance of this machine can go. There can be the issue with the performance of this machine. So to tackle these two issues, Amazon come with the two features called multi-z and read replica. Multi-az and read replica. The first option we are going to learn is multi-z. What is multi-z in RDS database? Okay, so multi-z, it is used to provide the backup, provide the loss of your database. In the case of system failure, in the case of primary instance your database going down, your application should not get impacted. What do you mean by your application should not get impacted? All this system, all this database are connected to front end. Take example of IRCTC website. I think everybody has used IRCTC website, right? To search your railway ticket or hotel management, to get a hotel tickets, okay, hotel availability, or the any room is available in the hotel or not, all these informations are stored in some database, right? And you are accessing that from front end. Let's say while accessing the data, your behind your database has gone down. Right now you are checking some information on IRCTC website, okay, about the your ticket from, let's say, Mumbai to Delhi. When you click on search button, that information, that thing will go back to the database and check if the tickets are available, and it will give the current information. But if the database goes down behind the scene, the server, your database goes down, what you will do? What will user will get? Your front end user will get some error like database is not working or other error. But is this acceptable, that if your database goes down, the user will get an error, or in general your application has gone down, right? In general your application is not able to connect to the database. Is this acceptable? While working with, in the starting we talk about there are couple of pillars in Amazon, that your application should be up and running and it should has a good performance as well. We talk about that initial pillars of Amazon, right? When your application should run seamlessly and without any error. Okay, this is a primary pillar of Amazon, remember? So how can we do that? So your database should always have a backup. What type of backup? That's a if in the case of your primary instance goes down, there should be a secondary instance should be available which will take place of the primary instance. Okay, now you can compare this with your captain vice captain principle. So there should be two machine, one is called primary and second is called secondary or standby. Somebody will use word standby or somebody will use word called secondary. Now standby or secondary instance means this instance will active only in the case of disaster, that is primary instance going down. Okay, if your primary instance is up, this machine, the secondary machine, will not do any activity. The second machine will not perform any kind of activity. They will be running idly. They will be running idly. That's it. Now, okay, the secondary machine will be running idly. So all the people are going to connect to your primary instance only. All the people are going to connect to your primary instance only. So if primary instance goes down, in that scenario, your secondary instance will come up. So multi-z allow you to have an exact copy of your production database into another availability zone. Now this is important. It will be in another availability zone. So if you have a one machine in availability zone 1A, then the other machine will be in 1B. Something like this. So there will be a primary machine and it will have a backup or secondary machine in different altogether different availability zone. Why? Let's say this availability zone goes down, you still have a accessibility of second availability zone. Okay, this is region specific, you can't go beyond the region. Okay, this is region specific, you should, so within the region the multi, that's why multi AZ. Okay, multi availability zone, as the name suggests, your one instance will be in one availability zone, another instance will be in another availability zone. It's a backup of your primary instance. So in the case of disaster, in the case of any failure, if your primary instance goes down, then secondary instance will take place of it, as the diagram suggests. Okay. Amazon AWS handles the replication for you. So when your production data is written, write or automatically to synchronize the standby data. That means whenever you are, as I said, if there is no issue, all your database, all your connection will be going to the primary database, but it is always be in sync with your secondary database. It will always in sync with your secondary database. Okay, and you don't have to do anything. Amazon will take care of it. Amazon will always make sure that your primary database is synced with your secondary database. Okay. In the event of failure, planned database maintenance, DB instance failure, or availability zone failure, RDS will automatically fail over to the standby so that the data operation can resume quickly without administrative intervention. It is not primarily used for improving the performance. Always remember, this is not used to improve the performance. It is For performance, you have read replica. It is used for disaster recovery. All your database supports active standby apart from Aurora, Amazon proprietary database. And why? We are going to learn in Aurora section. We have a separate PPT for Aurora. We are going to understand why Aurora is quite different from your other database. But in Aurora, there is no active standby as such. But apart from Aurora, all your database has active and standby feature. You can enable it. So we'll go there in the console and we will enable the active standby. So if you go here in the maintainer, in the connectivity, okay, if you go in the configuration, you will see multi-z is not enabled right now. Go to the modification of your database, scroll down. Now you can see availability and durability. Do not create a standby instance. You can click here, create a standby instance. So while creating the database, this option was gray out. Why? Because we were creating in a free tier, but you can modify it after creating the machine as well. So we are going to modify it right now. Just click on create standby instance and just click on modify. Apply immediately. So now it will take 5 to 10 minutes again just to create a new database and sync up with your primary database. Okay. It will take 5 to 10 minutes to create a new database because altogether it's a different machine. So your primary database is right now in availability zone 1B, AP South 1B. Now it will take some time and it is going to create a new database, that is standby database, in different availability zone. And we will not able to log in into any of these two database. We can just connect to the we will not able to log into the EC2 machine, underlying EC2 machine of this database. We can just log into the database. That's it. Any question till here? Okay. Now coming to read replica. What is read replica? Now we talk about database. So we talk about the performance issue. We talk about the backups. So how can we improve the performance? How can we improve the performance of our database? So there are two ways. One is to there are rather three ways to improve the performance of your database. One is to change your database EC2 machine size, okay, from okay, you can change the hardware. Let's say your database is running on 1 GB RAM. You can increase the database size to 2 GB. Okay, either you can upgrade your system to higher version, but sometime it will not help you out. Sometime it will not help you out. Okay, upgrading the system will not sometime increase the performance. Okay, in that case, the most effective way is add a new additional system. Add a new additional system which will distribute the workload of your primary machine. Which will distribute the workload of your primary machine. That is called read replica. Okay, now take an example. I can give a real world example. A house, if a worker is working and he is will able to create the house in 10 days, same task can be done by two people in half day. That is 10 days, means 5 days. If a person is able to build a house in 10 days, two people will able to do the same task in 5 days. And if you increase the number of people, the task can be done quickly. Okay, so read replica are kind of helper node for your primary machine. Now how they help? we are going to learn about it. So read replica allow you to read only copy of your primary database, read only copy. And this is a very common scenario in many places. How many of you have visited a railway counter? There are two counters. If you have went to railway reservation counter to book tickets, there are two counters generally. One counter is for inquiry, another counter is to book a ticket. There will be one counter where you can just inquire if the tickets are available or not, if you can book which train is going on which station, so on. There is an inquiry counter, and there is another counter where you can book a ticket. So why there is an inquiry counter? This is just to give the update to the user. All people don't need to book tickets. Now take example, another example. When you are browsing for a hotel, or if you are browsing for uh, a railway ticket or a flight ticket or a hotel booking, you might visit that website couple of times, let's say 4 to 5 times, before actually booking the ticket. Have you observed that? How many of you book the tickets in one go? How many of you book a ticket in one go? I think nobody does that. You check multiple options before you book a final ticket. Agree? Yes or no? Now you can see out of 5 transactions, 4 transactions are read. You 4 times get the information out of your database, and only one time you are going to book. That is write operation. Agree with me or not? So can you give, from this we can conclude that in general database are read heavy rather than write heavy. Can we conclude on that? In general, in very general thing, most of the database are read heavy. People are reading the information more than updating or writing it there. Even in your bank statement, okay, even your bank statements are stored in some database. There also, you are going to check your statement couple of times, and you might not do the transaction that frequently, right? How much money you have in your bank, how much money I have spent it today, something like that. You're going to read the data more as compared to write it to the database. That's why read replica comes in picture. So you create a new database which is a replica of your primary database, and you transfer all the read requests to that database. All the inquiries information will go to that database, and your primary database or the master database are responsible for only writing the information. You can see from the diagram. This is achieved by using asynchronous replication of from your primary database to the read replica. You can you use read replica primarily for read heavy database workload. So there is a concept called synchronous and asynchronous. So in the case of your multi-z, in the case of multi-z, the active and standby are synchronous. That is, they are immediately synchronous. If you do any changes in your primary database, it will immediately, without any delay, will be synced with the secondary one. It is a synchronous sync. Second is asynchronous. So your master database is there, your replica is there, and if you do any changes in master, it might take couple of seconds. It can be millisecond to couple of seconds to replicate. That is called asynchronous. It's not immediately, but 1 second, 2 second delay will be there. Okay. Again, it's a having exact copy of your master database, but the synchronous is a little delay. Read replica is available for all the instance, all the database engines available in AWS. And again, this is automatically done by Amazon. You just have to enable the read replica. So synchronization, creating the read replica, everything is maintained by Amazon. You don't have to do anything. It's a just couple of clicks away. Apart from Aurora, you can create a read replica for all the databases. Okay, even for Aurora, there is a quite different thing, but all the database serve read replica. So you can see this is your primary or master database. You can create read replica of your primary database. It can be in same availability zone, it can be in different availability zone as well. Even you can create a read replica in altogether a different region as well. Okay, in different region as well. Why? So let's say you have one database in US and you want to serve the same database in Australia. So you can create a read replica in Australia of your primary database. So you can see the diagram below. This is your primary database. Okay, you created a multi-z, that is a backup of this database, and a read replica in different availability zone, as well as you can create a read replica in different availability zone. But remember, backup, that is secondary instance, will be in same availability zone. The standby instance will always be in same availability zone, same region but different availability zone. Read replica can be in same availability zone, different availability zone, or different region altogether. So let's go in the console and check. So you can see the modification has been done. So right now we have created a backup, right? That is standby instance. If you go to here in the configuration, you will see multi-z is enabled, yes, and the availability zone name will come. Okay, right now the primary instance is 1B. Your primary database is in 1B. So the secondary instance will be in different availability zone. It will take couple of more, might be taking more couple of minutes to show the availability zone, or you can just click on hard refresh one or two times more. Okay, but multi-z is enabled. Now how can I enable read replica? Just select on, go to your database, select your database and click here action, create a read replica. Create a read replica. Okay, now you have to give a name. Okay, you have to give a name. So read replica my db. You can give any name. So now you can see here, it's similar to creating a new EC2 machine. So you can have a different configuration in which region you have to create this read replica. You can select that. Even you have an option of selecting the availability zone as well. Okay, even you can enable the encryption here for read replicas. Just click on read replica. So I have created one read replica in the same region. Now you can see a read replica. So this is my master. You can see primary, and this is read replica. Now your primary instance has this URL, but your read replica will have a different independent URL. This has independent URL. Okay. It will has an individual endpoint. Now let's cover a few things quickly about replica. Use for scaling, not for disaster. Again, it's important to remember that it is for scaling purpose, not for disaster recovery. Okay, it's important to understand that this is used for scaling, improving the performance, not disaster recovery. Must have automatic backup enabled in order to deploy a read replica. Then you can have up to 5 read replica. You can have up to 5 read replica of your RDS instance. You can have read replica of read replica. You can create read replica of your read replica, but it will create a latency. Your sync up or synchronization can be slow. Each read replica will have its own DNS. I told you. Each re, each read replica will have its own endpoint or URL. You have read replica. You can have read replica that have multi-z. You can create read replica of multi-z source database. So if your primary instance has multi-z, you can still create your read replica. Read replica can be promoted to their own database. This break the replication. This I'm going to explain you in some time. You can have read replica in same in second region or another region. You can have a read replica in different region altogether. Now, what is mean by you can create a promote a read replica? What does that means? Now, take one example. Let's first understand this example. Let's say there is a team, and for that team, there is a team lead. You have a team, and there of 5 people, and there is a team lead who is leading that team. Now, let's say you have a requirement where you need to create a new team. You need to create a new team, and in that team you need someone to lead that team. आपको एक नई टीम बनानी है और उस टीम को लीड करना है किसी को. सो व्हाट इज द ऑप्शन हियर? अगर आप कोई नया टीम क्रिएट कर रहे हो, बना रहे हो, तो व्हाट यू हैव ऑप्शन विद यू? आइदर हायर अ न्यू टीम लीड from outside your organization for your new team and give a KT, ask him to sync up with the new company. How much time a person will take to get comfortable with the company? Is generally 3 to 6 months. Is generally 3 to 6 months it takes a person to get fully aware about the well-being of the company. What is the second option or a cheap option that help the team to grow immediately? To promote a person as a team lead, a person who knows everything about the company, who's working with the company for a time. You can promote that person and ask him to lead the team. In this scenario, you don't have to give any KT, you don't have to give a knowledge transfer or training, anything to this person, and this person can take charge immediately. Do you agree or not? What is a good option? Promotion or hiring a person from outside? Which give you the fast result? Tell me. Out of this option, why? Because that person knows everything about the company, right? He knows the process. He knows the how the company's policies are there. But hiring a person will take some time. First, you have to hire, then you have to give training. You have to make sure the person is aligned with the company's policy and all the things. So promoting is a good option. Similar goes with your read replica. Let's assume that this is your primary database. Instead of person, this is your primary database, and these are 5 read replica of your primary database. That means all these 5 have same data. Let's say your primary database has 10 GB. So all these 5 database will have 10 GB with them. The data is there. Agree? Now let's say there is a new team and there is a new service you are providing to a customer, and you require the data. Okay, let's say you are doing some testing. You are doing some testing or you are creating some new vertical. In that case, you require the same data. You are doing some analysis on this. So you have either two options. Either take your primary database and create a new database of this. Take a backup, and from that backup, create a new database. So this is again running, but you are creating a new database altogether. What will happen in this case? First of all, you are increasing the stress on your primary database, and secondly, you are adding an additional resources. So it can take 1 or 2 days for the new database to run up and running. Second option, just promote the read replica. Promote a read replica. So this is 10 GB. Here it was 10 GB. Now this database, this new database has 10 GB with it. Right? Agree? So here it was serving a primary database or master database. Now you have promoted it to become a master. So now this replication will break. Now this person is not going to take any further commands from this database. Now it is going to serve independently. That is promoting a read replica. Okay. Now उसकी दुनिया अलग हो गई. Okay, so that is read replica can be promoted to their own databases. Okay, now they will work as an independent database. They will become a primary database. This will break the replication. Obviously, now the new database is not going to take any instruction from the previous master database. Does it make sense? So this is read replica. So let's go in the console and check if your read replica is ready or not. Let me do a hard refresh. So this is your primary database. You can see primary. This is your read replica. You can see still it is modifying. Okay, now if you are doing anything in your primary database, it will be replicated immediately in your in your read replica. Now you can see the endpoint, the URL. You can see the URL are different for both. You can see the URL are different here. Now in your application, when you know that you are going to write something, you should give this URL to your client. Otherwise, you should give the read replica URL, where you know that the person is going to read the data continuously instead of writing or updating anything. That is a scenario. You should provide the read replica URL to your client, to your customer. If they want to write something, you should change the URL to primary primary database. Okay, and you can see the database is created in the same authority zone. Now let's go to your primary database and check if there is a standby is created or not. Go to the configuration, scroll down, you can see standby is in different authority zone. Your primary is in 1A or 1B and your secondary is in 1A. This is all about your uh, RDS machines. So exam tips. What we have learned today, we can take backups. There are two type of backup. One is automatic backup and other is DB snapshot. Again, it's a snapshot of your volume, underline EBS volume. Automatic backups take automatically on a daily basis. This is manual backup. You have to take manually. Automatic backups will be deleted once you delete the database. The manual backups are not deleted automatically. You have to delete them manually. Read replica, you can create read replica can have multi-z, can be used to increase the performance. You have to enable the backup first to create the read replica. It can be in different availability zone as well. All this database supports read replica. You can promote the read replica from your primary database. Multi-z use for disaster recovery. You can force for failover from primary to secondary just to check if your primary failover is working or not. Encryption, you can enable the encryption to all your databases supported by Amazon. Encryption is done by KMS service. Once you enable encryption on your RDS machine, the underlying data stored in RDS will be encrypted as well as the backup and replica and snapshots will be encrypted as well. This is all about your RDS database. I'm stopping here.